and I try to initiate the vibration. Now the tool start to vibrate, so I am moving it down. Alright, so I'm ready to trim this bowl, and I told you that I would show you how you control your trimming tool so that you could avoid unwanted chattering mark, or you can manipulate your chattering mark so that it look nice on the surface decoration. So let's start it. A lot of people pottery learning, they usually have two basic trimming tools. They come with two loop tools, and those are made of stainless steel. So when they upgrade to tungsten carbide tool, they don't know what to do with it, because usually when they are using the stainless loop tool, they tend to trim it very wet or a little bit wet, because the tool is not usually very sharp, and sometimes it's very dull if you don't know how to resharpen it. So then they tend to trim the clay a little bit soft, and that causes the problem when people change it to tungsten carbide tool, and the tool are usually very sharp, and so they still do the same thing that they do on trimming on the softer clay, so they tend to get the unwanted chatter mark. That's why a lot of people, when they first use it, they have an unwanted chatter mark, and I want to show you how to avoid it. Let me use the large one. Okay, this one is like a pear shape. And how do you avoid unwanted chattering mark? Is that when you trim, you see that my hand is kind of a grip the tool, okay, this finger here, and then use my right index finger to hold the head of the loop, and then my other hand bracing here. So, and this hand is kind of slightly touched there and bracing it. So I'm having a very firm grip on my tool. So the unwanted chatter is caused by the vibration of the tool when you trim the clay kickback your tool. So if you hold it very tight, you are not going to having the unwanted chatter mark. And also, when you trim using the carbide tool, you don't need to spin very fast. Okay, just normal speed. And you see that. And also, when you are trimming, if you are using the whole blade, usually when you are using the whole blade, you have a more resistance. When the resistance from the clay is kind of going to kick back the tool. And in the case if you're holding the tool very tight, your tool start to jump, okay, and cause the vibration. When the vibration started, you are going to go deeper and deeper. That's how you get the chattering mark. So when you're cutting, maybe slightly tilt it instead of using the blade to cut it. It's slightly tilted, so maybe just use a corner of a spot of the loop tool. So your cutting point is less, and grab the tool very tight. You are not going to end up with having the unwanted chattering mark. Okay, so that's the loop tool. And if you have my square loop tool, the Pear loop tool. Okay, this is the Pear loop tool, and this is square. I call it square loop tool. It's the same thing when you're trimming it. Try to hold it tight. Not hold it tight on your handle. Hold it tight on the loop, okay, on the head. of the loop. You can see that I don't have any unwanted chattering mark at all. The surface is very smooth without having the chattering mark. Right, so that's how you avoid it. And it's also true for my L-shaped loop tool. If you trim it closer to the corner, the corner where the corner, the handle and the blade, using more, concentrate more on that part, you will have a less chance to get the unwanted chattering mark. When you see that I am bracing the head, and I don't have the chattering problem, right? So if you want to do your chattering on purpose, what do? You do quite the opposite, okay? Where you hold your tool very closer to the head. But if you want to kind of try to get a chattering texture, actually if you hold it a little farther away, so that when the wheel spins, your tool start to vibrate, and you will cut the chattering mark. And when you see the chattering mark, you can hear the sound too. I don't know if you can see it or not, but you can see that the surface start to get chattering mark here because the tool is vibrating. Okay, versus if you grab the tool very firm, you remove it. And for this L shape, my emphasis point, the cutting point, is closer to the corner, so the tool is not vibrate. The farther part is vibrate easy, but the corner part is hard to vibrate. That's how you can remove the unwanted, okay, to avoid unwanted chattering mark. The same thing here. If you want to kind of do the chattering mark again, instead of holding very close, you hold it a little bit farther away. Right, and that, you see that tool start to vibrate and then start to chatter, and then that keep on going, and that chatter mark is going deeper and deeper and deeper. And you can see that the clay jumping off. It's not like a ribbon. It's kind of a little piece by piece. That is the chattering. See that's a chattering. And if you look closer, actually you can control it, so the surface will be. Sometimes if you want to do the chattering on purpose, that could be a very nice technique to get your texture done. Right, so you can see that this is the chattering mark. And if you want to remove it, again, you do the opposite way, right? And you hold it closer, and you go a little bit deeper. And also, I don't know if you notice or not, when I'm doing the chattering, I kind of speed up the wheel a little bit. You see that I'm using more concentrate of the curve where the straight side of the blade and where the curve is going, and concentrate on that spot to cut it. Okay, so one more time, I could completely remove the unwanted chattering mark. you can see that my concentrate point is right here, where this edge is straight and this curve. So the concentrate cutting point is here, instead of using the whole blade. If I'm using the whole blade, sometimes the more resistance from the clay, it might be cause the blade to start to jump. That's why you initiate the vibration of the tool. And if you keep on cutting the same rhythm, and then your tool is going to jump more and more, and so that it causes the unwanted chattering mark. And one other thing, if you want the surface to be smooth, especially the very final cutting, you could slightly speed up the wheel, but don't cut it too deep. If you cut it too deep, you might end up with having the chattering mark. So cut it slightly lighter, but move the tool slowly, so the surface will be smooth. Okay, that's the technique of how you get the surface smooth. Cut it smaller, cut less clay, and then speed up the wheel a bit, and then move the tool slowly. Right, so you see that I don't have any chattering problem at all. Okay, so that's the technique that hold it closer so that your tool doesn't vibrate. Okay, it doesn't vibrate. And I usually use the Pear shape for larger area, like this part here, larger area. But for the detail, if you have only two loop tools, so you could use a square shape of a loop tool to cut the footing here. So make sure that when you're trimming, especially when you use the tungsten carbide tool, you have to trim it at the hard stage at least. Don't trim it too wet. Usually people, first they got the carbide tool, they tend to go to their old experience. When they have a dull stainless loop tool, they tend to trim it a little bit softer. But for the carbide tool, they are very sharp. It's easy to cut through the clay, so your clay could be a little bit drier, on the drier side. And one other way to tell if your clay is too dry or too soft, is that when you're cutting in it, you can see that the clay is not sticking to my blade. Okay, it's not sticking on. meaning this is the perfect stage of a trimming. If the clay keep on sticking into your clay, it's meaning that your clay is a little bit too soft when you're trimming it. You see, no matter what tool I use, I could avoid the unwanted chattering mark. The key is holding the blade, the head, firm. So that is the loop tool, and usually if you want to have a better, nicer corner, I will bring out my number 2 tool. I have several number 2 in different materials, okay, different materials. So this one is regular stainless number 2, stainless steel, and this is the little bit harder material. It's also stainless steel, but it's made of a 420 stainless, so it's hardenable. You can do heat treatment, so the edge hold a little bit longer than the regular one. And this is the tungsten carbide blade, okay, tungsten carbide blade, so it lasts even longer without needed to resharpen it. So those are the tools I usually do very final. You can use that by itself too, but I think the very final, if you want to get the corner a little bit sharper on the foot ring, you can use that to trim it. Right, so this is the carbide, and this is the regular 300 series of stainless steel. They'll do pretty much the same job on my 420 stainless steel tool. So depending on your budget and your personal preference, different handles. I have the wooden handle and silicone slips handles. Without any handle, okay. So 3 different types. And again, if you want to avoid the unwanted chattering, you see that I brace, I hold it here, I brace it. So the head has somewhere to use my left thumb to guide the head so it doesn't vibrate. And the speed of the wheel a little bit faster, and move the tool slowly. I could get the surface smooth. Okay, I leave the wall a little bit thicker on purpose so I could do a lot of removing, clay removing. See that there's a lot of clay removing from the surface. And let me bring again the pear shape loop tool to show you the final touch of chattering mark. If you want to do some surface decoration, okay, how you use that to achieve the nice chattering mark. So again, speed up the wheel a little bit faster and hold it. See that I hold it a little bit loose. And I try to initiate the vibration. Now the tool starts to vibrate. So I am moving it down. Okay, so that is the chattering mark that you could control the surface. So you got a lot of chattering texture going on the surface here. Burnish the foot a bit. Right, so you can tell the difference by look at the trim, the clay that has been removed from the surface. If you see the ribbons, those are the clay that is not breaking it up, so it's not chattering. Versus here, see that this part here, it's a chattering mark that I kind of cut little by little from the surface. So you see that it's a lot of small parts from the clay here versus a ribbon of a clay. So that's the main difference of chattering or unwanted, the chattering or not chattering. Okay, so that is the finished piece after trim. Let me show you the back of it. The chattering from the pear shape loop tool. Alright, so thanks for watching and I hope you will be successful to control your chattering, unwanted chattering or on purpose chattering. Right, see you next time.